down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, snappity tap. I'm with someone that I admire and like. You would never know that when we banter together back and forth about real estate. We used to be office suite mates. We actually have done one deal together, which is really rare. And there's a comment this man has told me that has resonated in my life for years and probably till my grave. VanCauwenbergh, get off of 2011 prices.
It's true. They're not real anymore, man.
Please welcome my big boy, JJ Grits, international wholesaler / investor / fun man. I don't know. You do everything. And Savvy somebody.
Yeah.
All right. So how in the world did you get into real estate? I mean, you have a blue collar background. And how did that start?
I think you're giving me entirely too much credit for manual labor. Calling me blue collar. I'm definitely not. How I got started in the background, I'm actually, I guess technically I'm a third generation real estate investor. My grandparents bought real estate back in the day, paid cash for stuff, rented it out, sold stuff on payments. Yeah. And then my parents have had some investment properties. And so, yeah, I guess it was.
Did they teach you this game?
No,
were you
no. Isn't that weird? That happens a lot. That happens a lot. I don't know why. No, I mean, I knew it was a thing. I remember my
you knew they had rental property?
Yeah, I knew they had rental property. I remember my grandpa bitching about having to fix toilets and whatnot. And I remember my grandma having a lot of problems with tenants just because they were mom and pop old school landlords, right? They didn't, I mean, this was pre-internet. This was you just kind of took people on their words and did a handshake lease and rented them a house, which is obviously we know not the way to do it. And the information age that we're in, it makes things a lot easier, right? We can know a lot about who our tenants are or our prospective tenants before we ever rent to them. But anyway, so they had rental property. They made a lot of money. I mean, they made a lot of money. My grandma literally lived off of rental income the later half of her life. And when she eventually passed away, some of those properties, they wound up in the hands of various family members.
So like, how old were you that you can recognize this? And did you ever have a desire back then to be an investor, or was this something that you just knew, like, hey, he's a doctor, cool, I don't want to be a doctor?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. What little kid thinks about, I'm going to grow up and be a landlord, But
True.
So I remember going to houses with my grandpa when I was probably under 10. I remember it.
So so it was an impression.
Yeah,
but it wasn't like a life altering guide.
No, exactly. The real estate thing for me always was more like I was always more interested in building. I wanted to be a builder for a long time.
Cool.
And I had some friends that had some rentals when we were in college. It was something I was really interested in, but I was a broke college kid and didn't really. I guess I was lazy and didn't do too much research into it. Back then, I could have got a loan for just breathing, I think. But so I didn't buy any stuff back then. Fast forward to
no, let's not fast forward.
Okay,
I'm in control here, buddy.
All right.
So,
well, you asked the background, so I'm just trying to give it to you, Chief.
Listen, we got two alpha males in the room, so we're gonna have to. One of them's gonna have to.
Come on, we can have fun.
All right. So let's talk about like where you came from in the essence of. You were in college, I guess. Did you graduate?
Yeah.
Okay, so you graduated.
It took me 8 years. My mom was very proud. She said, "It's fine, son. Lots of kids go to school for 8 years. They're just called doctors."
Well said. Your mom, I got to meet her. She's got to have a great personality like you do. But like you graduated, I know I don't want to kick the cat out of the bag, but you were selling garage doors.
Yeah. So
and then like I want to know the progression. Because why I'm having you on the radio show is because I was very intrigued when we would go over deals together and you were building homes and like you flipped houses, you've remodeled houses, you've actually built something from nothing, from the dirt. I've never done that. It's very fascinating, the type of people that need to get that done.
Sure.
How did you get to that point? Because I know that we're going to talk a lot about how you are a real estate investor today, but How did you get to that point? Like,
So-
where'd that come from? It's not from your grandparents, because you just alluded to that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I had.
You graduated. What happened?
Yeah, so I graduated college. My wife worked for OG&E. She got relocated to Oklahoma City. And
From Stillwater? Or
Tahlequah.
Okay.
Yeah, we went to NSU. She got two degrees in the time it took me to get my one. But anyway, so we moved to Oklahoma City. I took a job with a garage door company here in Oklahoma City as their sales rep. And then I was working with new construction builders literally every day. That was what I did. 95% of our business probably came from new construction, right?
And prior, you had some desire to build, but
Yeah,
you didn't
I
know
did.
where or how or what.
Yeah, I had a buddy in high school that started building houses like our senior year of high school and did really, really well. I mean, this guy's done his own developments now, and I mean, he's done well in a small town, right? And there were a lot of people that were wealthy from real estate in a small town, so it always had piqued my interest, right? It was something that
You're fascinated with.
Yeah, I was just like, hey, this is cool. You take a piece of dirt, and now it's somebody's home, and they get to
you
have
make money.
Yeah, and you get paid to do it. So anyway, I'm working with builders day in, day out at my job. And these guys are, I mean, at the time, the market's hot in Oklahoma City. Everything they throw up is selling, a lot of times selling before they're even done with it. I mean, every idiot in town is building houses. And I'm like, well, if that idiot can make money doing this, I probably can, because I'm as dumb as he is, right?
That's how I got the game.
Yeah, man. It's not that I'm a super smart guy. I just saw a lot of people making money, and I was like, I could do that. I've always wanted to do that. Let's do that. So, I partnered with a buddy of mine that was a full-time builder.
So he showed you the ropes?
Yeah, this guy's building 20 houses a year, and I said, hey, man, let's.
So you're driving around all day in your pickup truck trying to sell to uneducated builders.
Well,
Not
these guys are smart. They know what they're doing. The good ones are really, really good. There were some bad builders in the market, and as the market shifted, they're probably not still doing it anymore. But anyway, so I partnered with this guy. I said, hey, let's build some houses. I want to learn the process. I want to learn kind of the ropes. So essentially what I did was put up the financing, and we would build a house, and he would kind of show me the process, and that worked really, really well. And then I got promoted at my job from just a sales rep here in Oklahoma City to a regional sales manager. So then I had a store in Nashville, a store in Dallas, the store here in Oklahoma City, and then we opened a brand new store in Denver.
So you traveled to all those locations?
Yeah, so I'm traveling every other week, basically, to go do this. Well, guess what? You're not building a house if you're not here, right? So I'm not really. I'm driving by to check to make sure my money's going where it's supposed to be going, right? The checks that I'm writing are paying for the work that's supposed to be done. So
for the concrete, for the
which
trim,
is fine,
trim carpenter.
right? Hey, yeah, it's cool, right? I still know the process. The basic steps are the basic steps, right? You know, you gotta put plumbing in before you put a slab in. It's just part of it.
Okay, so you had a desire and you connected with your homie to start building houses. So you're building it. Then all of a sudden you popped and got a job promotion.
Yeah.
And so, but you're still building at this time, but you're letting go. You're creating systems during this process.
Well, I mean, he
scared?
already had the systems. It was more just trust his system because it was
you guys
working.
Were splitting it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he
you were
was
basically a passive investor at the time.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Savvy. All right.
And it worked really, really well for us at the time. We had a couple houses towards the end of the deal that didn't go great. And I'll tell you specifically about the last one we did. We went into a brand new neighborhood in Yukon. The area was super hot at the time. It backed up to an existing neighborhood that had been hot for literally years, and that neighborhood was running out of lot. So in our minds, the logical next step was the evolution into that neighborhood that literally adjoined it, right? Same style of houses, same price point of houses, same style of lot. Right. It's basically, think of it as another phase of that neighborhood, if you will. It's a separate neighborhood, but a continuation of the same thing, right? And the faucet literally just shut off in that part of town. People stopped buying houses there. It was crazy.
Weird.
There was a lot of existing inventory that was coming on the market competing.
Was it just the market just shifting?
The
as
market
builders?
just shifted. Yeah. I mean, so we had a shift in Oklahoma City where stuff over 250,000 really, really slowed down a couple years ago. It coincided with, oil was crap. A lot of people were losing their job or scared of losing their job. And when that sort of thing starts happening, a market contracts. And you don't get as much movement. People that were buying houses for $300,000, $400,000 wanted to buy a house that they picked everything out in. They didn't want to buy a spec house. They wanted a custom home. And so we're in a brand new neighborhood. 3 other builders were supposed to come in there with us. They didn't come in. I mean, it was just a multitude of
Dominoes.
headwind, right? And so we wound up building that house and setting on it for, I want to say it was almost 2 years by the time we were, I think we were at 20 some odd months by the time we closed it. Right. Wow. So, and this is a $335,000 house, right?
How much was your monthly nut?
Oh my God. I don't even remember. It was a bunch. Yeah. Yeah, probably so. I mean, at that point you're past your construction loan, you're amortized. I was paying a 15-year note on that thing. Right. Cause I had gone past the point that
12 months.
Well, they'll go to 18, right? But I was past that point. So we were on 15-year payments. I'm making a big payment every month, right? So that last house, we split like $3,500 between the two of us.
Wow.
And we're grateful, honestly. Sure. Grateful, right?
Because what are we going to do? Are you going to move into it?
No. It wasn't even that. It was like I didn't lose money on that, which taught me a valuable lesson, right? You can have a really can I cuss on here?
Sure.
Yeah, you can have a really shitty deal and still
make $3,500. That's why I love real estate in general. Someone's going to buy it. I've lost money just selling a property because I wanted to get rid of it because the stress was not worth it.
Yeah.
All right.
And sometimes it's better to just reallocate that debt somewhere that's going to actually do something for you, right?
Okay. Couple questions.
Yeah.
Why Yukon? Or is that where you always built at?
Yeah, we built kind of on the west side of town. So
he was there. Your friend was already building in that location.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So it just made sense. Snatch up some more lots in neighborhoods that he was already in, and do the thing. And that side of town was super, super hot back in the day. I mean, stuff was really moving, and it's cooled now. It's way different.
Let's give the folks out there a perspective. How many houses have you built during the time, or in general, all of them?
So I think we've done 6, 7. Yeah.
So this process, was it enjoyable? Did you like being a builder? Do you ever want to become a builder again?
Yeah. I mean, I liked it. If the market was different, then yeah, I would do it again.
Well, we're going to get into the market cycle here in a minute, but
yeah.
So selling garage door.
Everything that I've done's not been with him either. I mean, we've done some other stuff outside of that, so I've seen other builders' processes.
Sure.
So,
and I'm assuming that you have your own too. Okay, so let's kind of move on to progression. So, went to college, came out, started selling doors, doing good, started becoming a builder. Now you don't sell doors anymore. Where's that transition from? When did you quit that job?
Yeah.
Then you went into being a real estate investor. Because I've known you for a long time. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would see you at meetings, but I knew you were kind of just dabbling. You were kind of just feeling it out. Mm-hmm. Where's that transition from selling doors, being a builder, did you get stung on that last one? It kind of left a bad taste in your mouth. And you're like, I'm not going to go back.
I went full time before we sold that last house. And to back up just a little bit, I mean, part of the reason I started building new houses was I wanted to flip a house and couldn't find a deal that the numbers worked for what I was wanting as a spread.
So when you were mining deals, you couldn't find deals, so you said, hey, I'm going to just do it.
I just built new construction. I was like, hey, I'm not finding anything I can rehab that the numbers make sense for me. I'll just buy a piece of raw land and we'll turn it into a house and I'll make my money that way because,
What'd you average on those sales? Like if you added them all up, all 6?
I mean.
20, 30,000?
It'd be more than that. My cut would have been, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about building. I
mean, a 15% net margin is pretty good.
What was the percentage?
15.
15.
20 is kind of
you're a superstar
shoot for that.
Is that low grade or is that any size like $250,000 and above, or is that like if I was building $125,000 house? in
Pretty
Springfield?
much everything we were building was over 225. You get much lower than that, and you're competing with the mass builders that their cost on everything is just so much lower than yours because of the volume that they're doing.
Now, why'd you decide on spec houses versus like customs? Just the BS of dealing with people?
So he was building customs. He had his own company. It didn't need to be a competition thing. So we partnered on specs.
Okay.
And we built under his banner. So basically everything ran through my company, but we marketed under his. We did his same kind of package. So it was just let me get in on, it was basically let me invest in your company.
And you get to learn the business.
Yeah.
Now, how about picking the plans? I know we're dragging this out way too long, because I'm fascinated by this. So did you pick your own plans? Did you copy someone else's plan? How's that process?
So I have built off of plans that I've found from local architects before, but with him specifically, he does his own plans. We would kind of sit down, figure out what we wanted to do, what was good for the neighborhood. We would go back and forth. If I wanted to adjust some stuff, he would just adjust it, and we would figure some stuff out.
So you never had fear that you have a $300,000 loan or $250,000 loan waiting randomly one day for someone to buy it so you can make some money? Did any fear ever come into your...
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're all casual about this deal. I'm a builder.
Well, yeah. There's fear in everything, right? I flip houses right now. There's fear every time I buy one of them. Is this thing going to sell?
True.
Right? Is this house going to rent? It's
marginal, though.
I don't.
$250,000 house that's on a super weird loan that has to mature in 12 months, maybe 18 months. So it's the same level of fear is what you're saying as a builder versus a flipper. It's the same in your mind? Okay, cool.
Probably a little more fear on a flip sometimes because the loan structure is different. Truthfully. A lot of times with a new construction loan, unless you get strung out there past 12 months or something, none of my cash is in that deal. It's all bank money. I didn't have to put any money into it.
Well, yeah, actual liquid cash. I get it.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll move on from this subject. We
Sure.
bring it up. What advice would you give someone? Would you encourage someone to build today? What are the key things that you've liked? Hell no, I'm never going to do that again.
In this market, I wouldn't encourage someone to start building unless they have that educational foundation. They really know what they're doing.
Partner?
Maybe. I probably wouldn't build any spec houses right now, to be truthful. The market's just soft on specs. It just is. Okay. So if you don't have an established brand, if you don't have an established product, if people don't know what you're already doing, it's probably a really tough environment to be a builder in right now.
Not for the new.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Or for the soft at heart. All right. So builder did that, had a kind of rough ending there on your last one. Mm-hmm. Now, where are we going? How'd you go full time? What made you decide to quit a pretty decent lucrative job? You get to travel.
Yeah.
You get to drive in a big giant truck that I saw you rolling around in all the time.
I paid for that, but yeah.
I always wondered you had like a new vehicle every
still do. I don't work to drive a piece of crap. So in 2016, the company was going through some changes. They were trying to force some stuff on me, and kind of make me take a pay cut. It was disguised as an opportunity to earn more money, but I know the realistic part of the market.
You were getting overcompensated in the beginning, per se, in their mind. So they're trying to change it back?
No, I think that they were. I don't really know how to justify it other than they wanted me to do 2 or 3 people's jobs and pay me less than they were paying me for one job.
Sure. So you were just fed up with that type of lifestyle and you wanted to move on?
And I just got tired of working for someone that never had a consistent direction of where they were taking the company and a vision of what they were trying to achieve, and the message changed from day to day. It was really frustrating for me. And I had been really wanting to go full-time for a while. I had a plan. The plan was to kind of go full tilt into real estate. This was in 16, so we were really going to kick it off in November. The Friday before Thanksgiving of 2017 was supposed to be my last day of a W-2 job, and July, it was like the last Friday of July in 2016, I quit on the spot. I got an email back over some compensation issues from the CEO of the company that basically said, F you in nicer words. I read it going into the office. I got everybody out of the shop, took care of the paperwork, loaded my stuff up in my truck, and left.
Huh.
And sent an email and said thanks for the memories. Basically, I did run it past my wife before I quit.
Sure.
I came home. She was off work she's off every other Friday, and I said I'm done. I'm done with this BS. And she was like, "Good. I've been telling you to quit for months.
What a
Do
great
it."
wife.
Yeah.
Go, Kathy.
Yeah.
So were you nervous at that time? Or
Yeah, man. Come on, bro.
you're just so chill at everything you say. You know.
I walked away from a 6-figure job. Yeah, I was nervous. That money went away overnight.
Is that when you were hanging out with Jimmy a lot?
I was. Yeah. I mean, it
'Cause
was.
I saw you at that time. You were different.
Yeah.
And the one thing that popped in my head that I could see that really drove you crazy is this word vision.
Mm-hmm.
The company that you work for didn't have a vision. Did you have a vision at your time at that process, or were you? Because it seems like you were angry because there wasn't a vision for the company. Because you want to follow a great vision.
Yeah.
You didn't. That company obviously didn't have a vision. Did you have a vision for yourself at that time?
Yeah, absolutely.
What was that vision?
Yeah. So I mean, I really wanted to get into flipping. I wanted to build a rental portfolio, and then eventually, kind of once that was stabilized, start building again. That's still part of my vision. I mean, that's where I want to go. That's what I enjoy doing.
And right now you're flipping.
Yeah, I am.
And what makes you like flipping so much? Which I'm just so you know, I'm anti-flipping.
Yeah, I understand that. I get
do.
it.
I don't like it.
It's chunks of money, man.
I mean, I like money. Don't get me wrong, but I'm in a deal right now, even on a ghetto crib that I bought on a wholesale deal that I had to take it down. And I'm like, they got TRRs, and the house is as is, mother.
But I don't do that.
You just fix it right the first time.
Yep.
At all costs.
Yeah. Right.
And
I feel like that's my obligation. If I commit to redoing this house, it's my job to redo it the right way. I mean, that's what I'm doing. That's supposed to be my profession. I don't want to cut corners. And so I try to be very strategic in the houses that I take down. I tried to do houses that were lower end for better sake, just
or
paint
low profit.
Yeah, it just didn't work for me.
So I'm just guessing you probably don't take a house down unless you make $30,000.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of my goal. Yeah, at least.
So you'll do one maybe 20 if it's in a really good area.
Yeah. Yeah, if I pretty much know it's going to sell quickly when I get done with it. And I have a tendency to over rehab because I want it to move quick. I want it to be the nicest house
so
for
when you did
sale.
off of May, right? The Big Daddy one it sold really quickly.
Yeah.
Did it go well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that. It was amazing rehab.
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about that in another episode.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So vision.
Yeah, so yeah, I need to know where I'm going. I'm a plan guy, and there just wasn't one. And then I had one, and that went to shit, obviously, when I just quit my job on a Friday.
So what'd you do? What was your first thing that you did?
I called Jimmy Ogle and said, I'm buying my Home Investors franchise. Make it happen.
Wow.
Send me the paperwork.
I remember when you first signed up.
Yeah, I did it.
You had
so
your OU shirt on. I think it was a white shirt with the OU logo.
Yeah, that was actually a family picture that he just stole and put on the internet.
Oh, no, I remember. This on the internet?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. I saw you at the RIA.
Oh, okay.
I remember vividly you had this giant white shirt on. It was like, bing, brand new, bright white shirt with a red logo.
Yeah, that was like the first time I wore it if it was clean, I promise, because white doesn't do
I don't
well
wear
for
white.
me.
Yeah,
white. But anyway, so I quit the job, signed up literally that weekend for Home Investors franchise and went to training like 2 weeks later. And went live with my first leads September of 2016 in the Home Investors system.
And then you met me.
I actually had met you before, and I thought, who is this crazy son of a gun right here?
I remember you
just shouting at people in rooms.
I remember when you moved in to the office, and I was like, it was an amazing experience because I'm like, where is this gonna go? Because I kind of liked you, and I was like, but you were like serious, and you had
Super
building
serious.
plans on your computer. When I would walk in your office, and you had like layouts and all weird stuff. And then we talked about this great thing that you educated. We spent hours on the market cycle.
Yeah.
This is when you said, stop thinking about 2011 prices.
Those aren't real. Those are gone.
We did have a great transaction. That house that you sold me has.
Yes, we had a great transaction, and you bitched and moaned the whole time about how bad of a deal it is.
Hey.
Typical investor. I'm going to get so rich off of this deal, but I'm going to make you feel like you ripped me off doing it.
No, I didn't. You saw, I rehabbed it. You saw it.
I know.
It's a solid deal.
It was what I told you it was, though, isn't it?
Yes, you were right. I was still scared because that area is on the edge of the hood.
Yeah, it is on the edge. That's the key.
But it is on the edge.
It's exactly what I told you it was.
Listen, Itch.
Boom.
4-bedroom,
Boom.
2-bath.
Boom.
Got it. All right. So let's talk about the market cycle. We sat down one day and we had a wonderful talk about the market cycle, and I was just impressed.
I think I brought a spreadsheet.
You did, and you had it all lined out for me. So we're in 2019 now. Well, we're about to. And tell me where we're at with the market cycle. What are you thinking? Obviously, you have your pulse on building. You're like, don't build. People ask me all the time, from bankers to when is it going to collapse? What is it going to collapse?
I don't see that happening in Oklahoma.
I can give you my take, but where are we at? I mean, are you seeing the deals like you used to? Has it softened? How about money? Let's talk about all those things.
Sure. Okay. So let me take it from a kind of a broad perspective, and then we'll touch on some of those other points. My opinion of the market is, and this is specific to Oklahoma City, obviously, right? It's different around the country. I know L.A. West Coast is actually, L.A. West Coast is softening right now. It is. They went from a few days on the market to now at some places it's taken 30, 60 days, 90 days, which they're freaking out about, right? And I'm like, if I could sell something in 30 days.
If I could close in 30 days.
Yeah. So certain areas of the country are definitely seeing a downturn. Oklahoma City specifically, I will say this. There are certainly areas of town and price points of town that are super soft right now. Your luxury market has a crazy inventory supply right now. You get into certain price points in the OKC greater metropolitan area. On the upper end, when you get closer to, let's say, $750,000, $1 million, there's probably almost 4 years worth of inventory sitting on the market, which is insane. You got to remember, a balanced market is
2 years.
A balanced market is 6 months worth of inventory
on luxury,
on anything. You want 6 months supply, right? And if it's under 6 months supply, then you're in a seller's market. If it's over 6 months supply, you're in a buyer's market.
Define
right?
the 6 month supply.
So if no other houses come on the market, it'll take 6 months to go through the inventory that's on the market based on the volume of transactions that
the number of transactions,
average volume that happens month to month, right? So if there are, let's say you're going to make me do math, but let's say 100 houses sell every month in this price point, and there are 600 houses on the market for sale in that price point, then it's going to take you 6 months to go through that inventory.
In a perfect world.
In a perfect world. Obviously, with markets, there's stuff coming on, there's stuff going off all the time.
People are moving in.
People are moving in, moving out. So anyway, now, if you look at $150,000 and below in Oklahoma City, which as real estate investors that mostly focus on kind of median price point properties, there is a very limited supply. Some parts of town, you may have 1 or 2 months worth of supply, right?
Well, like in Edmond, there's nothing under 150. Right.
And here's the other thing. You can't build a house for $150,000 anymore. There is no new inventory coming on the market, really. I mean, you can, okay, but it's going to be very tiny. It's going to be very basic.
To build right now? Do you know
what is the target?
Yeah, an average home is like $120 square to build. To retail,
to buy probably 120, 130 is probably
low end,
average
to buy a new build.
Yeah, probably so. I don't know the exact figures on that, but
Sure.
yeah, I'm going to guess somewhere in there just based on
Material.
and it's higher than that in some parts of town. I mean, some parts of town it's going to cost you $140, $150 a foot just because land's so expensive right now. But anyway, back to the broader market. So what you have is certain price points have an abundance of properties, and certain price points has a shortage of properties. So you're in a mixed market right now. Now the properties that we focus on as investors, there's a very limited supply. Number one, because there's no new inventory coming onto the market. Everything that exists in that price point right now is all that there's probably ever going to be. And, just the nature of the market, as time goes by, those properties become worth more and more. Your median home price is probably going to creep up at about 3% every year in Oklahoma City, right? Because we're a linear market. We're kind of steady Eddie, boring. It's going to do basically the same thing every year. You may see a little dip, you may see a little bit higher, but if you average it out over a number of years, it's probably going to be somewhere between 3 and 4.5% price appreciation. So you have quite a bit of competition in that space. There's a lot of people that want those houses. There's a lot of people that want rentals. Real estate is really, really hot as a topic of discussion. People are looking for yield on their money. You've got out-of-state money coming in because they look at this and say, this is at a discount, where everybody here in town sitting here remembering back to 2010, 2011, 2012 prices, and they're like, this market is crazy. It's crazy. I can't believe people are paying this. And part of my deal is I think people get too caught up on what they're paying for a property. Who gives a damn what you're paying for?
I agree.
If it cash flows, if you get
no money down,
if you if you can do no money down deals, great. That's fantastic. But if you have, I have a lot of people that pass on deals that are complaining about not being able to buy deals. They have money sitting in the bank, and it's like, what are you doing?
Dumb.
Put the $5,000 down on this property and move on to your next one.
I would
get
never
some
say
return
this,
on
I
your
agree.
cash.
There's been a couple of properties where I've spent a little bit more than I normally would have because I know the market is scarce.
I have a ton of cash in properties right now, and I don't care. What is it earning me sitting in the bank?
True.
2%?
You're a real investor, but you're rare. That's why you're on the Savvy Radio Show.
Boom.
All right, so where are we going with this? Is it going to collapse? I mean, people scared of Donald Trump. I can. What's your vibe on money, too? Because that's the Fed's going up.
Fed's going up. I think that. Okay, so look,
I got quoted the other day. It's on the wall. We should read it. 7%. I'm at 5.25, 5.2. Bank sent me a letter. I have $500,000 out there. They're like, hey, we're going to bring that up to 7 in 6 months. Something's happening.
So I would be looking to reposition that.
Yeah, I am right now. But
right.
But a lot of people don't. They just think it's going to be the heyday. Now, when I got into the game back in '99, I was buying houses at 7% interest and cash flowing. And
that's the other thing that I was going to say. I mean, all terms are relative, right? Now, when you've been paying 4% for money, 7 seems crazy, but in the grand scheme of things, 7's not that much over average. I mean, average is going to be somewhere between 6 and 7% probably, right?
You think in the future?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's going to get to 8.
Okay. All right. Whatever.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a stretch. My first house, personal residence, I paid 6.5% on my mortgage. So if you look at a primary residence is 6.5, 8's probably not that far out of whack of what people were paying back in the day on an investment property. Here's the thing: the Fed has continued to raise rates. They've put out a note that they're looking at pulling back the reins a little bit on that in 19. They're probably still going to raise rates a little bit, but not as aggressively as they have. And part of the reason the Fed is doing that is because they got to put tools in the tool belt in case this crash that everybody's freaking out about happens. They got to have something that they can do, right?
So let's define the word crash.
Okay, so I think the biggest
it's never going to be like it was before. I mean, not too long ago, I was buying houses at $25,000 a piece.
Yeah, well, it's never going to be like it was before.
On the subprime,
hypothetically,
debacle.
Right? Because you're not just giving a loan to anybody that has a pulse. You're not doing stated income. Although I have heard some places that are coming back. Subprime car loans is kind of a big deal that's looming out there right now. But, there's some headwinds. You got trade talks with China. You got all this other stuff. You got a lot of chatter in the market. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we just got to focus on what we focus on and make sure we're buying deals that the cash flow numbers work.
Simple.
Okay. The cash flow numbers work. If you've got good cash flow right now, you should probably stress test your portfolio and say, okay, where's my break-even point? At what point can interest rates go to that I'm not losing money every month, And then you look at, okay, so if interest rates get to like 14%, which on my personal portfolio, I can go to 14% before it's a break even. And then guess what? I'm still holding back for reserves, right? So that's the next thing to take the hit. And we're also assuming that I don't get any rate increases, right? If interest rates go to 14%, do you think your rent rates are going to be the same that they are today?
Well, that's a different. Oklahoma rent has been way slow. In certain markets, new Class A properties have gone up.
Okay,
but we've increased.
Why is that?
Millennials are willing to pay more for newer construction.
Okay, anybody's willing to pay more for new construction, but why do you think that rent rates have been slow to appreciate in Oklahoma City in specific markets, especially lower end markets?
That's where I'm at. I mean, it hasn't been I just remodeled the property.
They're gonna have to go up.
They're going to go up, but I'm not going. They're going to go up, substantially. I don't think it's going to balance out. Say if you went up to 14%, you're charging $500 a month on a hood. Let's just say $600.
Mm-hmm.
To cover that 14 at $6, you'd have to be at $800.
No,
at least $100 more.
Okay,
$700.
Well, they're not going to 14 overnight.
There's a progression. Yeah, of course. I think it would ride parallel, but I definitely think that the rate was going to outcrease the rent.
So I will say this: I've seen rent regression in parts of town, right?
Yes,
and that's because that
supply
particular,
and demand.
Yeah, you've been oversaturated with rentals in certain areas of town, and so when you see that, what do you say?
Lower my rent?
No, you say don't buy any more freaking houses in that neighborhood. Get out of that oversaturated neighborhood.
Well, I have an old school philosophy. I under rent mine, not deliberately. So
you're part of the problem.
Hey, I know bankers don't like that.
Yeah.
But the reality is I like to keep mine full and I don't want to think about it.
Well, but you also have a different entry point, right? If you bought a house for $25,000, you got a lot more flexibility than the guy that paid $60,000 for
100.
it, right? In the same neighborhood.
I just got stung. I don't know if you heard that podcast, but I bought this house in Edmond and everyone's telling me $1,300. Mm-hmm. And so the appraisal came in at, my appraisal came in at 130, 32. One appraisal came in at 145 after I rehabbed it. It's weird. Let's just say it's worth 135.
Okay.
1% would warrant that. Edmond, hottest area in the world. No house under 150,000. I had it for 1,300 crickets.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I dropped that thing down, 1175, I had thousands of people. I rented it out in the day.
Mm-hmm.
What's that? Tell me about what's going on there. Well, that doesn't match what the value of the property is.
Well,
yeah, mother. It's just weird.
Do you want me to tell you the truth?
Always.
All right. I wouldn't be buying in Edmond.
Go, JJ.
I don't own a house in Edmond. I think that market is.
It's
again,
dumb.
I don't want houses that rent for that high either. Right?
Cash flow.
No. I want houses that are close to the median price in ARV, and I want houses that are close to median rents in Oklahoma City. So for me, $850 to $1,200 is my sweet spot. I have one house that's over that, and I don't have anything else that's close to $1,200. Most of mine are $1,000 or less, right? And the reason for that is that's the most affordable property that has the biggest pool of renters. I can get a class of renter that I want to deal with personally in that price point. And so for me, that's the best market to be in. That property is still going to appreciate. It's still in a nice area of town. It's still a good house. I have retail sellability if I want to get rid of it. And it's, so it's just a win-win-win for me.
All right.
But
now we're at 40 minutes. So
Okay.
let's go over a couple quick things.
Yeah.
Last thought on market cycle.
Yeah. So again, I see perhaps some softening in this market. You may see a little bit of a downshift, just
price point.
Maybe. I don't know. We haven't grown at that big of a rate, but it's kind of one of those things. If everybody's talking about a market downturn, there's probably going to be one for just because everybody's got it on their mind, right?
True.
It just like it's self fulfilling prophecy kind of thing.
I I agree with that.
You know, so there are some headwinds in the economy, but ultimately at the end of the day, what I tell all of my friends that are in this business is just buy deals that make sense today, and they're probably going to make sense in a down market, and they'll make sense even more sense in an up market. You can't sit on the sidelines waiting for the crash. You need to be consistently buying. Be in a good position with your portfolio that banks want to keep lending to you. You've got a track record. You show you knew what you were doing.
Active.
Yeah, you know what you're doing. You're in the market, and when a downturn happens, it's going to happen, right? There's going to be one. It's just a cycle of a market.
In
it's how big.
Areas it could be stronger.
And I'm thinking probably 2021 is kind of 2021 is probably the target for something like that, just based on history. And some tax reforms and stuff like that. But anyway, be active in the market. Keep buying. Make sure the deals that you're buying make sense. Be active and be ready. If there is a downturn, when there's blood in the streets, buy them all.
Yep.
Buy everything you can get your hands on. Mm-hmm. Because when it comes back, you're going to be sitting here in 2030 saying the same thing Stephen VanCauwenbergh saying in 2019. Damn, I wish I could buy at 2011 prices. I wish I could go back and buy 300 more houses, 500 more houses, 1,000 more houses at those prices, because I wouldn't have to deal with this bullshit anymore. I could sell it all and go sit on a beach with a margarita.
Well, I'm fortunate that I did buy back then.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate that I did buy at that downturn.
What's the best time to buy a house? 10 years ago, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, you should be buying right now.
Always.
It's going to increase. All right. We're going to wrap this up, Big Daddy. So how can people get connected with you? I know that you host some events, which is really cool, and it's always at the time I can't be there, which sucks. But you do like a happy hour
Stop
thing.
making excuses.
Hey, I got children. You don't have them yet. They're going to be popping out soon.
Yeah.
You're settling down, I could tell.
Yeah, sure.
I could see you snuggle up with your wife on Facebook.
Yeah, it's cold out.
So tell me, what do you do this thing called happy hour? When is it? Who is it?
I do this. I do an investor happy hour. It was originally kind of a Bigger Pockets meetup. I guess it still is. We posted on Bigger Pockets. It's on meetup.com. It's on Facebook. It's called OKC Investor Happy Hour. It's the second Tuesday of every month at 6 o'clock. We're doing it at VZD's on Western right now.
Cool. Is there going to be a band?
Sure. If you come and bring your
DJ
musical instruments, there'll be a band. No, so it's just a kind of a loose gathering of people that want to get together and talk about real estate, talk about deals that they're doing, talk about funding that they're getting. It's just there's no education, there's no set topic, there's nothing like that.
People.
It's just like-minded people getting together, talking about what they're doing, the challenges that they're facing, the successes that they're having. If you get around people that are doing what you want to do, likely you're going to be able to achieve some success.
Well said. And then you have another thing that you guys used to do together called Dealmaker Session.
Yeah, we did.
Is that happening, still rolling?
We did a deal called OKC Dealmaker Sessions. We've decided to kind of shut that down, probably forever. And we weren't having the success that we wanted. We wanted other wholesalers to be involved in that, and it just never happened. So we're going to kind of back up, regroup, and do something a little different, a little more targeted. And you can kind of stay tuned to see about what we decide to go with on that. Probably the easiest thing to do is follow me on Facebook. I'm at JJ Grits. Follow me on Instagram. It's at JJ Grits. My company is Icon OKC. So on Instagram, if you want to watch some of our flips and stuff, it's at Icon OKC. But other than that, those are good places to keep up with me.
Bam. I'm so excited. I can't wait to have you back on the show.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.